Well, at this point in time, just 8 of Donald Trump's 22 cabinet nominees have been confirmed by the Senate. And we'll go through the key takeouts from the hearings in a moment because the Democrats have turned this process into a complete circus and it has been embarrassing to watch. But Donald Trump is calling out the Democrats for delaying the confirmation of virtually all of his nominees. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, no matter how good and well qualified someone is, they are taking the maximum amount of time for approval and laughing about it. Trump's nominees are so strong and they've been picked not just because they're qualified, but because they're going to shake things up. Whether it's Kash Patel for FBI director, who's been calling out the deep state for years, or RFK Jr., who's been leading the Maha movement, they are the Democrats' worst nightmares. So what have we been seeing on Capitol Hill? Essentially, a bunch of Democrats being so triggered, many of them have been having temper tantrums, been kicking and screaming and making fools of themselves along the way. Let's look at RFK Jr.'s hearing for Health and Human Services Secretary. We know that he's an environmental lawyer, an ex-Democrat and the nephew of JFK. And he's been an advocate for more rigorous testing when it comes to certain vaccines. And the lefties can't comprehend something that makes a lot of sense. Here is Bernie Sanders losing his mind about whether RFK Jr. supports onesies for babies.
We are selling what's called onesies. These are little things, clothing for babies. One of them is titled Unvaxxed, Unafraid. Your organization is making money selling a child's product to parents for $26, which casts fundamental doubt on the usefulness of vaccines. Can you tell us now that you will, now that you are pro-vaccine, that you're going to have your organization take these products off the market?
Senator, I have no power over that organization. I'm not part of it. I resigned from the board.
Yeah, that was just a few months ago. You founded that. You certainly have power. You can make that call. Are you supportive of this?
I've had nothing to do with leadership.
Are you supportive of these onesies?
I'm supportive of vaccines.
Are you supportive of these onesies? I mean, what a joke and a waste of time. RFK Jr. has made it clear he wants good science, and Bernie Sanders has shown the world he's lost the plot. As part of RFK Jr.'s Maha movement, he's promised to take on Big Pharma. So during the hearing, it was actually Bernie Sanders who was forced to explain the donations that he may have accepted.
Bernie, the problem of corruption is not just in the federal agencies, it's in Congress too. Almost all the members of this panel are accepting, including yourself, are accepting millions of dollars from the pharmaceutical industry. And protecting their interests.
Oh, I thought that would come. No. I ran for president like you. I got millions and millions of contributions. They did not come from the executives, not one nickel of PAC money from the pharmaceutical industry. They came from workers.
In 2020, you were the single largest
because I had
receiver of pharmaceutical money.
Oh, glad that Bernie Sanders cleared up that they were contributions before he clearly wanted to move on from that topic entirely. But lastly, on RFK Jr., here is Elizabeth Warren having a meltdown.
You financially down the line.
I'll comply with all the ethical guidelines.
That's not the question. You and I, you have said
you're asking me, Senator, you're asking me not to sue vaccine pharmaceutical companies. Yeah, you are. That's exactly what you're doing.
Look, no one should be fooled here.
Oh, it's hard to watch. But look at how the Democrats questioned Kash Patel for FBI director. Here is Adam Schiff doing his best to attack Kash Patel for his connection to a song released by Capitol riot inmates.
Turn around.
I'm looking at you. You're talking to me.
No, look at them. I want you to look at them if you can, if you have the courage to look them in the eye, Mr. Patel, and tell them you're proud of what you did. Tell them you're proud that you raised money off of people that assaulted their colleagues, that pepper sprayed them, that beat them with poles. Tell them you're proud of what you did, Mr. Patel. They're right there. They're guarding you today. Tell them how proud you are.
That's an abject lie, and you know it. I've never, ever accepted violence against law enforcement. I've worked with these men and women, as you know,
You
my entire
glorified it in
life,
song,
and I did
Mr.
not make
Patel.
a single dime out of
In
it.
song.
But throughout the hearing, Kash Patel dominated.
On Joe Pack's podcast, he asked you, the Capitol Police in that fake January 6th committee, they didn't tell the truth, did they? Patel, no, not just them, many others. And lying under oath is a federal offense and they should be investigated for it. Do you believe that about the police officers?
That's a general statement and a mischaracterization of what I said. I encourage you to read the rest of the interview. This is why snippets of information are often misleading and detrimental to this committee's advice and consent
Well,
process.
if you consent, I would love to have 5 hours of questions and then I could read the whole transcript.
You've got 2 minutes.
Ouch. Let's look at Pam Bondi's confirmation hearing for Attorney General, because the craziness from the Democrats just went up a level, and the way Pam Bondi was treated was appalling. It reached the point where she had to call out bullying.
Senator, you were speaking. May I speak? You cut me off when I was speaking. When I ask you the next question, you can speak, and I hope you answer, Ms. Bondi. Well, I'd like to answer the previous one, Senator.
When we met yesterday,
you pointed your finger at me and said you were speaking.
You did not seem to be familiar
Let me answer my question. I'm not going to be bullied by you, Senator
the 14th Amendment of the United States of America, which was deeply disappointing.
I guess you didn't want to hear my answer about Pennsylvania.
After I gave an opportunity to study overnight. So can you tell me in this committee what the Citizenship Clause of the 14th Amendment says?
Senator, I'm here to answer your questions. I'm not here to do your homework and study for you.
Now, throughout these hearings, the Democrats have shown that there's really no bar too low for them to go, and that was certainly the case when it came to Pete Hegseth's hearing. Here is Tim Kaine trying to smear him by bringing up his children.
Can you so casually cheat on a second wife and cheat on the mother of a child that had been born 2 months before, and you tell us you are completely cleared? How is that a complete clear?
Senator, her child's name is Gwendolyn Hope Hegseth, and she's a child of God, and she's 7 years old.
And she was, and you cheated on the mother of that child less than 2 months after that daughter was born, didn't you?
Those were false charges.
And just when you think that it couldn't get any lower, it does. Here is Tim Kaine again.
Did you ever engage in any acts of physical violence against any of your wives?
Senator, absolutely not.
But you would agree with me that if someone had committed physical violence against a spouse, that would be disqualifying to serve as Secretary of Defense, correct?
Senator, absolutely not have I ever done that.
You would agree that that would be a disqualifying offense, would you not?
Senator, you're talking about a hypothetical.
Now, despite the ugly attacks, Pete Hegseth kept his cool for the entire 5-hour hearing, and he left Elizabeth Warren completely stumped when she tried to trip him up.
In other words, you're quite sure that every general who serves should not go directly into the defense industry for 10 years, but you're not willing to make that same pledge?
I'm not a general, Senator.
Now, Pete Hegseth has been confirmed, and there is concern around Tulsi Gabbard. Let's look at her hearing for Director of National Intelligence. She was on fire when she had to call out how offensive the line of questioning was from Senator Jerry Moran.
Make certain that in no way does Russia get a pass in either your mind or your heart, or in any policy recommendation you would make or not make.
Senator, I'm offended by the question because my sole focus, commitment, and responsibility is about our own nation, our own security, and the interests of the American people.
And Tulsi Gabbard continued to shut down wild accusations, including those coming from Mark Kelly.
My concern has to do with the tendency to repeat Russian and Syrian, and even in some cases, I think we'll get into in the closed session, Iranian information, and to discount what comes from our intelligence community.
Senator, every American deserves to know that people in our own government were providing support to our sworn enemy, al-Qaeda. That should not be acceptable by anyone.